What does your belly look like? Is it sagging, hard, or a soft pooch? Most people think belly fat is all the same, but that's a dangerous lie. There are 3 types, each with a different cause. One isn't even fat. These aren't just different shapes. They have 3 completely different biological triggers. One is caused by stress, one by a specific hormone, and one isn't even fat at all. It's actually fluid leaking from a damaged organ. If you treat them all the same, you will never lose it. In this video, we are breaking down the 3 distinct belly types, what they reveal about your health, and exactly how to fix the one you have. Let's dissect the first and arguably the most dangerous archetype. Type 1. The hard drum. Imagine a guy at the beach. He's got skinny legs, thin arms, maybe even a sunken chest, but his stomach looks like he swallowed a basketball whole. It's high and tight, and if you poked it, it wouldn't jiggle. It would feel like a pressurized tire. This is not fat. If you try to treadmill this off, you are wasting your time. This is a liver crisis. In medical terms, we are often looking at early-stage ascites or severe hepatic stress. Think of your liver like a high-performance water filter for a swimming pool. When that filter gets clogged with scar tissue, fibrosis, the blood trying to flow through it hits a wall, but the heart keeps pumping, pushing blood towards the liver. This creates massive back pressure. The pressure gets so high that plasma starts sweating right through the veins and pooling in the empty cavity of your abdomen. That belly is actually trapped fluid. A clinical study published in the Journal of Hepatology observed patients with this specific type of distension. They found that in cases of advanced liver stress, the fat was actually up to 60% fluid retention. The liver was so compromised, it couldn't produce albumin, the protein that holds fluid in your blood vessels. Without albumin, the water just weeps into your gut. If you have the hard drum, your liver is crying out for space to breathe. You don't need a diet. You need a liver rehabilitation program. The prognosis here depends entirely on speed. You have to stop the injury immediately. First, eliminate the solvent. Alcohol is a solvent. It dissolves the lipid membranes of your cells. If you have a hard belly, alcohol is non-negotiable. It has to go. But high fructose corn syrup is equally dangerous. Fructose bypasses every cell in your body and goes straight to the liver to be metabolized. It is alcohol without the buzz. Cut it. Second, you need the TUDCA flush. There is a specific bile salt called TUDCA, but it's a miracle for a congested liver. TUDCA thins your bile. Imagine trying to drain sludge through a straw versus draining water. TUDCA turns the sludge into water, allowing the liver to flush out the toxins that are causing the inflammation. Third, look for the vitamin E complex. You don't want the synthetic stuff at the pharmacy. You need the full-spectrum vitamin E family, specifically tocotrienols. These act like fire extinguishers for fibrosis, scar tissue. In clinical trials, tocotrienols have shown the ability to halt the progression of liver scarring, effectively patching the leaks in the pipes. Let's shift gears. You look in the mirror and see a low-hanging pooch. It's soft, squishy, and sits right above the beltline. It feels different. It's not a hard drum. It's like a layer of protective bubble wrap. You see this heavily in women, but modernized men are developing it at alarming rates. This is the fingerprint of estrogen dominance. Now, don't tune out if you're a guy. In our modern world, we are swimming in a chemical soup that mimics estrogen. This specific type of fat is subcutaneous, meaning it sits just under the skin. It's not the visceral fat that kills you quickly. It's the stubborn fat that refuses to leave. The more belly fat you have, the more estrogen you produce. The more estrogen you produce, the more your body signals to store fat in the lower hips and belly. It is a self-perpetuating feedback loop from hell. Here is the variable nobody talks about: the plastic connection. You could eat clean, but if you are drinking water out of hot plastic bottles, you are dosing yourself with xenoestrogens. These are synthetic chemicals that lock onto your estrogen receptors and scream, "Grow fat." A study analyzing endocrine disruptors found that the average person consumes a credit card's worth of microplastics every week. Your hormonal shield belly is essentially a storage unit for these toxins. To strip this shield, we have to shut down the rogue factory manager. We need an aromatase inhibitor. Pharmaceuticals do this, but they come with heavy side effects. Nature gave us a solution: the cruciferous heavyweights. Broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and kale contain a compound called indole, which breaks down into DIM in your stomach. DIM acts like a traffic cop for estrogen. It takes the dangerous estrogen and pushes it down a benign pathway to be excreted. You can't just eat a stalk of broccoli and expect a miracle. You need a concentrated dose. A high-quality DIM supplement combined with calcium diglucarate acts as a detox team. The DIM neutralizes the estrogen, and the calcium diglucarate ensures it actually leaves your body through your stool rather than getting reabsorbed. And for the love of your health, stop heating your food in plastic containers. Switch to glass. When you microwave plastic, you are literally cooking the belly fat onto your body. Type 3. The sagging belly. This is visceral fat. Unlike the subcutaneous fat of the hormonal shield, this fat is wrapped around your organs, your pancreas, your intestines, your heart. This is the stress apron, and it is built by two architects working in tandem: insulin and cortisol. Let's break down the mechanism, because understanding this changes everything. Cortisol is your survival hormone. In the wild, if a tiger chased you, cortisol spiked to give you energy to run. Today, the tiger is your mortgage, your boss, and the traffic on the highway. Your body doesn't know the difference. It stays in fight or flight mode 24/7. When cortisol is chronically high, it does something terrifying. Imagine you have a house, your muscles, and you have cash in the bank. Cortisol ignores the cash. It goes to your house, rips the copper wiring out of the walls, and sells it for quick cash. It breaks down your muscle tissue, your thighs, your glutes, converts that protein into sugar, and dumps it into your bloodstream for energy to fight the tiger. But you aren't running, you're sitting in an office chair, so now your blood sugar spikes. Your pancreas senses this flood of sugar and screams, "Emergency!" It pumps out insulin. Insulin's job is to store energy. Since you aren't moving, insulin takes that sugar, which used to be your muscle, and stores it as visceral fat right in the safest place it knows, the center of your body. You are literally dissolving your muscles to build a belly. A study conducted by the University of Chicago brought this reality home. They took healthy young men and restricted their sleep to 4 hours a night for just 1 week. In that short time, their ability to process glucose dropped by 40%. They became pre-diabetic within 7 days. Their cortisol levels remained elevated into the evening, preventing fat burning. This confirms what we already know. If you aren't sleeping, you aren't losing that stress apron. So, how do we dismantle this apron? Most people try high-intensity interval training, or HEAT. They run until they puke. However, this is a mistake. Intense exercise spikes cortisol. If you are already drowning in stress, then doing a CrossFit workout is like throwing gasoline on a fire. You might burn calories, but you are signaling your body to hold on to fat stores first. You need the anti-cortisol walk. You need long, slow, low-intensity movement. Walking, hiking, rucking with a light backpack. This burns fat without ringing the alarm bell. It effectively lowers cortisol, signaling safety to the body. When your body feels safe, it then releases the fat. Secondly, the insulin reset. Diet-wise, we must stop the insulin spikes. This means that intermittent fasting is non-negotiable. We need to give the pancreas a vacation. When you don't eat for 16 hours, your insulin creates a baseline drop. This then unlocks the door to the fat cells. But we have to pair this strategy with a reduction in carbohydrates. Remember that cortisol can make sugar out of muscle. But if you are eating additional carbs, you're just adding fuel to the fire. A ketogenic approach, or even a low-carb paleo style, is usually the sharpest knife for this type of surgery. Thirdly, the nutritional chill pill. To help dampen the cortisol response, we can look towards adaptogens. Ashwagandha has been shown in randomized controlled trials to significantly lower serum cortisol levels. Pairing this with magnesium glycinate before bed greatly improves your sleep quality, which is where the actual fat burning occurs. Let's talk integration now. So, where do you begin? You need to look in the mirror and truly be honest. Is it a hard drum? Stop consuming alcohol. Stop consuming fructose. Take TUDCA. Focus on the liver. Is it a hormonal shield? Stop using plastics. Start eating broccoli. Take DIM. Is it a stress apron? Sleep more, walk more, and fast for longer durations. Most importantly, realize you might be a hybrid. You might have the stress apron and the hormonal shield. That is quite common. In that case, you'll start with a diet, a low-carb fasting approach to tackle the insulin, and then you clean up your environment to tackle the estrogen. But here is the golden rule that applies to all of them. Patience is not passive. Patience is active waiting. It took you years to build that belly, so it will not vanish in a weekend. If this breakdown helped you identify your specific type, do me a favor and hit that like button so this information can find other people who are also stuck. Also, tell me in the comments below, which archetype are you identifying in the mirror?